When the Kroth expedition first made contact with Earth, they were prepared for hostility, negotiation, or at least some polite distance. What they were not prepared for was humans and their baffling instinct to befriend and pet anything with a heartbeat. Ambassador Ilix, a lean, scale-armored diplomat, stood inside the reinforced observation dome on the Kroth flagship Resplendent Dawn. Beside him, a human zoologist named Dr. Claire Mendoza peered through the armored glass at a containment field that housed a creature from Ilix's homeworld, a Fraskin. The Fraskin was a six-limbed apex predator, taller than a grizzly with an armored hide that deflected plasma bolts. Its saliva carried neurotoxins potent enough to paralyze a Gorth marauder. The Kroth had brought it as an example of their mastery over their planet's lethal fauna, partly to intimidate the humans, partly to show the strength of their genetic taming protocols. The Fraskin growled, eyes glinting like molten gold. Its claws gouged deep furrows into the reinforced floor. Ilix half expected the human scientist to step back. Instead, Claire pressed closer, her eyes wide with fascination. "Oh, it's beautiful," she whispered. "What's its name?" Ilix's crest twitched in confusion. "It has no name. It is a Fraskin, an apex species. Unbonded. We control it through shock collars and pheromone emitters." Claire frowned at the collar around the beast's neck. "That's cruel. Has anyone ever tried just being nice to it?" Ilix turned to her, one scaled eyelid twitching. "Nice? It will tear you apart. You must maintain dominance through fear and pain." But the human was already tapping her wrist comm, requesting the containment door be opened. "Stop. Are you insane?" Ilix hissed. His tendrils flared in alarm. A human security officer, helmeted and calm, nodded. "Relax, Ambassador. Dr. Mendoza has done this before." Before Ilix could protest, the door cycled open with a hiss. The Fraskin snarled, muscles rippling as it reared up to its full height. A tremor rattled the deck. Ilix's hearts lurched. Claire stepped inside the enclosure. She moved slowly, hands visible, voice soft and musical. "Hey there, big guy," she cooed as if addressing a hellcat. Ilix's claws drummed on the glass. "She will be devoured," he rasped. But Claire knelt, extending one hand, palm up. The Fraskin's growl dropped to a questioning rumble. It sniffed the air, confused by the lack of aggression. She spoke to it in low, rhythmic tones. Minutes passed like eternities. The beast lowered its head, its spiked mane flattening. Claire gently touched its snout. Ilix's jaw dropped as the monstrous predator, the unstoppable killing machine bred for centuries on a death world, leaned into the human's touch. She scratched behind its ears. The Fraskin rumbled, eyes half closing, tail flicking like an overgrown dog's. "It's just misunderstood," Claire called over her shoulder, grinning. "Like a big puppy." Ilix backed away from the glass, mind spinning. "Impossible, you cannot pet a Fraskin. You cannot pet Apex Death," his words dissolved into a choked hiss. Word of the incident spread like plasma fire through the galactic concord. Soon, every species that had ever survived by fear and intimidation reevaluated their strategies when dealing with humans. The Zari delegation recounted how a human soldier rescued an injured void serpent hatchling, a creature whose parents devoured starships whole. The hatchling now slept coiled around the human's bunk, purring like an engine. The Velk High Queen confessed with uncharacteristic humility that her elite guard once tried to eliminate a feral flesh burrower that plagued their colony. A human miner, witnessing the futile struggle, simply whistled, knelt, and offered it a treat. The flesh burrower now followed him everywhere, acting like an oversized lapdog with armored mandibles. The pattern was undeniable. Humans could pet anything. Back aboard the Resplendent Dawn, Ambassador Ilix met again with Dr. Mendoza, this time in the gardens of the human embassy. He glanced nervously at the enormous Fraskin lying beside her, massive head resting in her lap like a sleeping cub. "How do you do it?" he asked finally, voice low. Claire stroked the beast's scaled forehead, a serene smile on her lips. "I think it's because we humans grew up on a death world, too. We learned early on that fear makes enemies, but trust makes family." She looked up at him. "Sometimes, all it takes is a little kindness and the courage to reach out your hand, even when everyone else runs away." Ilix watched as the apex predator snored, drool pooling on Claire's leg. He shook his head, a slow hiss of awe escaping him. "Humans," he muttered. "You can pet anything.